Some men work hard for their money. Some men work smart for their money. And then there are men like Tabo. Tabo worked his face, his smile, his voice, his charm. And for years, it worked perfectly until the day four women sat in one room and decided they were done being his plan. Tabo Dlamini was not born lazy, he was born handsome, and somewhere along the way, he decided that was enough. He was 30 years old, tall like a door frame, dark smooth skin, a jaw so sharp it looked like God used a ruler. His haircut was always fresh lined, so clean, it looked like art. And his smile was the kind that made sensible women forget they were sensible. He had a business degree from the University of Johannesburg. His mother had cried the day he graduated. She had saved and sacrificed and gone without so her son could walk across that stage. That degree had been on her wall for 4 years. Tabo had never used it, not one single day, because in Tabo's mind, his looks were the degree, his charm was the career, and hardworking women were the salary. He had a simple system: find a woman building something real, make her feel chosen, move into her life slowly until she cannot picture it without him. Then let her pay for absolutely everything. He had been running this system for 4 years. It had never failed. Hey, if you are here watching, thank you so much for showing up. I want you to drop a comment right now and tell me where you are watching from. Are you in Lagos, Cape Town, London, Atlanta, Nairobi? Let me see you in the comments. Now let us get into this story because it is about to go somewhere nobody is ready for. Naledi Kumalo was 26 years old and already ahead of most people twice her age. She owned a hair salon in Santon that stayed fully booked every single week. She woke up at 5 in the morning. She kept her money clean and her circle tight. She had her own apartment with a city view, her own car, and she had never in her life asked anyone for anything. She met Thabo on a Wednesday afternoon inside Santon City Mall. She was walking out of three different stores with bags in both hands. He stepped out from nowhere, took every bag without asking, looked her directly in the eyes and said, "A woman building an empire should never have to carry her own weight alone." Naledi laughed. Her whole face opened up. She should have kept walking. She did not. 2 weeks later, Thabo was sleeping in her guest room. 3 weeks after that, he moved himself into her bedroom. He told her about a business deal, big investors, international people. The money was almost ready. He just needed time and a little support to hold things together. Naledi believed every single word because she was in love, and love has a way of making intelligent people temporarily blind. She bought his clothes. She stocked her fridge for him every week. She handed him her second car for his so-called meetings. She gave him her credit card once, just for emergencies. He used it like he had his government name on it. 6 months later, he got down on one knee on a rooftop in Santon with candles and rose petals and a diamond ring. A ring he bought entirely with her own money. Naledi covered her mouth with both hands and cried real happy tears and said yes. Her best friend Enzokule sat at the engagement dinner that night, smiling with her mouth and slowly dying on the inside. Something about Tabo sat wrong with her from the beginning. He was too comfortable, too smooth, too completely unbothered for a man with no income. But Naledi was glowing, so Enzokule stayed quiet. For now, 3 months into that engagement, Tabo met Letabo Mokoena at a petrol station in Rootport. Letabo was 28 years old, a nurse at Charlotte Maxeke Hospital, working double shifts every week and sending money back to her grandmother in Tembisa every month without missing once. She was exhausted, the way only a woman carrying everyone else ever gets exhausted. Tabo saw that tiredness in her face and handed her exactly what she had been missing. Same smile, same steady voice, same line, delivered like it was brand new. A woman who works this hard deserves somebody who takes care of her for a change. Letabo thought this is it. Finally, a man who actually sees me. He borrowed 5,000.
Daddy, you be this cute, but you don't want to work. Interesting story.
Time a new story. Each time a new promise. Each time Letabo transferred the money and told herself it was the last time. It was never the last time. Melokule and Tuli live next door to Letabo in their complex in Soweto. She was 33 years old and she had the kind of sharp, quiet eyes that noticed everything other people walked past. She had watched Tabo come and go for months. He never once brought groceries inside, never carried a single thing in, only came out looking fed and rested and satisfied. She sat Letabo down one afternoon and told her straight, that man is not waiting on a business deal. He is the business deal. And you are the investor who keeps losing. Letabo stood up angry, told Melokule to stay completely out of her relationship. Melokule sat back, said nothing more, but she kept watching because women like Melokule always keep watching. On a quiet Thursday night, Naledi opened her credit card statement on her laptop at the kitchen counter. She did not move for 20 minutes. 47,000 spent, gone, on things she had never once seen. Her phone rang. Ezokule's voice shaking badly, calling to say she had just spotted Tabo dropping a woman off at Bara Hospital. In Naledi's car, one phone call, one coffee shop in Rosebank, two women sitting across from each other as complete strangers and leaving that table as something much closer than friends. Melokulo walked in, sat down without being invited, placed her phone flat on the table between them, and said, there is a third one. Her name is Zanele. She is 21 years old. He has been asking her to invest money into his business since January. Silence so thick you could hold it. Then Naledi said quietly, call her. They did not waste time crying. They planned with cold, clear heads. Sisterhood is proud of you. Naledi called her lawyer friend. Letabo printed every single bank transfer, every date, every rand, every excuse he had ever sent by WhatsApp. The total at the bottom, 53,400. She circled it in red pen and pressed hard. Melokulu dug until she found out that Tabu's last name was not even Lamini. He had changed it years ago to sound more Santon and less Soweto. They called Zanele. She came, 4 women, one Sunday, one apartment, zero mercy. Tabo walked into Naledi's apartment that Sunday afternoon, expecting a warm plate and a soft evening. He pushed open the door. Naledi was standing in the center of the room, completely still, completely quiet. The most frightening kind of woman, the kind who has already made her decision and is simply waiting for you to catch up. Letabo sat beside her with the printed statements. Melokule stood near the window with her arms folded, already looking at him like he was yesterday. Zanele sat in the corner, 21 years old with eyes that had grown 10 years older in the past week. His bags, already packed, already placed at his feet before he arrived. Tabo tried to laugh, tried to start a sentence about misunderstanding, tried the smile, the same smile that had worked on every woman in every room for 4 years. Nobody moved. Letabo put the statement on the table. R53, 400 inches, red ink. Naledi placed the legal letter in his hand without one single word. Melokule walked to the front door and opened it wide and pointed outside. Tabo picked up his bags, straightened his back, walked out trying to look like a man who was leaving by choice. He stepped outside. The car was gone. Naledi's brother Sifo had driven it away that same morning before Tabo even woke up. He checked his phone, no data. She had been paying the contract. He stood at the complex gate with two bags, one in each hand. 30 years old, degree on somebody's wall. Not one ran to his name. The neighbors were watching. An old man across the road shook his head slowly and said loud enough for the whole street to carry it. Is that the one who never walked? Shame, man. Tabo stood there and waited for his mother to drive from Soweto to come and collect him like a child who had gotten lost. She arrived. She did not hug him. She stood in front of him and looked at his face for a long, quiet moment. Then she said, I did not carry you for 9 months and go without food, so you could eat women's money and sleep in their beds for free. Your grandfather built a house with his bare hands. You cannot even buy your own airtime. She turned and got back in the car. He followed with his bags and said nothing the entire drive home. That night, he sat in his childhood bedroom in Soweto, staring at his degree certificate hanging on the wall under the yellow lamplight. He wept, not for the women, for the years, 4 empty years of shortcuts that led him right back to a single bed in a small room with nothing to show and no one left to blame. Naledi opened her third salon 5 months later. Full house on opening day. Letabo got her promotion and finally slept without worry. Melokule built a women's group with over 400 members watching out for each other across Johannesburg. And Zanele, the youngest one, the one who nearly lost everything at 21, she graduated the following year. Before Tabo ever sent out one single job application, a handsome face without character is just a beautiful empty house. And every man who builds his life on other people's hard work will one day be standing at a gate with two bags, wondering where everything went. And that is the story of Thabo Dlamini, the fine boy, whose only business plan was other people's love. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end. If this story moved you, entertained you, or reminded you of somebody you know, please subscribe to Tales by Lee Bright right now. Hit that notification bell. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. We tell African stories raw, real, and unapologetic. See you in the next one.